Welcome. This is December 3rd, and this is for Capricorn Ascendant. December 3rd, Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Rising. We're going to go over Jupiter. Jupiter in Capricorn as of today at 0 degrees. Where is this happening in your life? What is this going to look like? How do you understand it? Because Capricorn, you've had so much going on. This has been one hell of a last 12 years for you. Okay? Pluto entered your ascendant, your first house 12 years ago, and it's going to stay there for 5 more years roughly. Is it 5 more years, or is it till 2015? I just said 2015. I'm off an entire decade. 2025, I'm sorry. 2025. So yeah, we have a few more years, Capricorn, with Pluto in your first house. But we're also going to talk about a few other things that are going on right now, the current energy. Like we've got the moon in Pisces right now, and that's our emotions, our water, our creativity. The moon's there, so super emotional about that. And for you, Pisces, and for you, Capricorns, that is literally going to be located in your... Okay, yeah. This is loaded. This is how you communicate. This is thinking and communication. You're going to be really sensitive in this matter in your life. Usually, because you have Pisces in your 3rd house of communication and how I think, the house of my siblings, immediate social, environment. So it could be neighbors or people who feel like siblings. It is also, like I said, how I think. This is important, how I think, and having the moon there sometimes, actually most times, it makes us more sensitive. Our emotional satisfaction, it's like somebody presses a button, okay? So having communication is going to feel like worthy communication, but nice, gentle communication. Communications where there's more empathy involved because it's the sign of Pisces there. So that's going to be important to you today, and be aware you might be more sensitive today than usual. Then it's only because the moon's there, and the moon moves fast, okay? So after tomorrow, the moon will be out of there. So for today and tomorrow, because the moon's at a very young, low degree right now. But I want you to also be careful of something. There's going to be a time which is, actually it might be early tomorrow morning, like when you wake up. The moon is going to be really close to Neptune at that time. And I'm mentioning this for you for Capricorn Ascendants because it's going to be, like I said, in your 3rd house of thinking and communication. When the moon touches on Neptune, okay, in that place of how I think, Neptune is like the rose-colored glasses. Its job is to veil things, okay? Because its role is to veil things because its ultimate goal is to dissolve things, to us to be able to see clearly and get to the bottom of things. So imagine for Capricorn risings, having Neptune in your house of thinking and communication, you're like, what the hell? I feel like I'm in a fog. And you are. You've been in a fog. Neptune is like a 15-year transit that you've had in that house, and it's halfway done with Capricorns. It's halfway done with your ability to think and communicate. However, once it's done, okay, once it's finally out of your 3rd house, you will have such crystal clear thinking because it'll have taught you how to see through the bullshit, how to see beyond the murky waters. That's the job. You're like the deep sea diver, and you've got like the glasses on, and the water's all murky and gray, and there's seaweed and shit all around you. You can't see your hand in front of you. But what happens is, once you have to deal with those things on a regular basis for a nice amount of time, you actually develop other sensitivities and other abilities, other ways to see, right? It's like a person who loses their vision, right? A blind person, they lose their vision and all their other senses kick in. Now, people, we have way more senses than our 5 senses. We only talk about the smelling, the seeing, the tasting, the touching, right? We only talk about the hearing. We only talk about, those are our typical, everyday, average Joe Schmo 5 senses. This is all astrology, man. Here we go beyond. It's not just about the physical, tangible 3D astrology. We talk about it all. It's all astrology. So we talk about that which we cannot see, touching into the other side. And for Capricorns, that's what this whole experience has been about. That is what Neptune in your 3rd house has been about. If you have not been the kind of individual that has been able to touch in with the other side, okay? You may be. Depending upon your moon and depending upon your sun sign and depending upon where those are located in your chart, you may be an individual who's like, oh yeah, I already do that. I already talk to spirit. I talk to dead people all the time. I talk to source all the time. Because ultimately what I want you to try to maybe get more acclimated to is the idea that having Pisces in your third house means you do have a channel that's already tuned in to talking with source. Yes, Pisces, Neptune, this is source. And so you have that in your third house, the house of communication. Now, what else is the third house? It's the internet, it's social media, it's writing, it's publishing, it's teaching, it's marketing, it's sales. That is all the third house, okay? So for Capricorn ascendants, there may be a come about time when you realize you are connecting with source because you may have other planets in Pisces in that third house. And this may be something you already do. So when Neptune gets done with you, this will be some time. Like I said, it's only at 15 degrees. There's 30 degrees to a sign. It's only halfway done, but Neptune is moving direct now. So I'm talking about Neptune and its relevancy because it's moving direct, which is beautiful, which means we're going to start seeing things happening, right? When it stops and it's standing still, things aren't really going and happening. They're not clicking, but they could start clicking. And I love it because talking to source, talking to people on the other side, if this is stuff you haven't done before, you're going to be more apt to do it once Neptune gets done with you, okay? And this is going to be some years yet though, all right? But this is because the moon is there and I wanted to make it relevant so that you understand your thinking, if you felt like it's been clouded, if you felt like there's been times where you see you're a little delusional, because that is also what Neptune and Pisces does. They add delusion to our life, right? It's like there's a sense of, okay, is that real? What is going on? We don't know. But understand, when Neptune gets done with you, I want to hear back. I want input, like what happened to you when you had Neptune in your third house. It's fascinating stories. I love to hear about the astrology stories of people's real life, right? Like how this looked in your world. So let's get on to the rest of this reading. This is also about Jupiter. Jupiter entering Capricorn, okay? Jupiter is law. You know, Jupiter is persons of power, government people, okay? Government officials. It's the legal system. These are all Jupiter things. Jupiter also adds to things, right? Jupiter can exaggerate and inflate things. Like I just did a reading for Leo ascendants, and well, they've got Capricorn in their sixth house. So for them, it meant Jupiter going into Capricorn for them could mean weight gain. A lot of people don't want to hear, oh, I'm going to be gaining weight. Crap, don't tell me that. Now, Jupiter is going to stay in Capricorn for about a year. Okay, that's its typical duration. Some signs it's longer. It just depends, but it's going to be for about a year. So having Jupiter on your ascendant, because our ascendant also is our physical body, and if Jupiter adds to things, it could also mean that for you as well. It could also mean weight gain as well for you, okay? It could also mean benefits to your health, right? You may feel a surge in health. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and try to make this sweeter than it actually is, because I know you've had Pluto going through your first house, Capricorn risings, and it's still there. And you've also had Saturn enter that first house 2 years ago. And when Saturn enters anywhere, it slows us down. So let me just tell you, you've been through some stuff. And what's coming like this month, December, January, we are having something that hasn't happened since like the 1300s, which is like a megastellium of planets, which means like 6-7 planets in your sign of Capricorn. That hasn't happened since the 1300s. So this is like a major transformation, a major period of reconstruction for Capricorn ascendants. Now, everybody in astrology has Capricorn somewhere in their chart, somewhere in their life. So for all of us, we are experiencing a major reconstruction period in our life. Now, this has to do with your physical body, your physical appearance, how you appear to the world physically, your personality included. This is your first house, Capricorn. So this means like everything about you is going through a change, a major, major reconstruction period. For some people, if they've had health that they haven't been too fond of, they're thinking, hell yeah, great. I know other people where they had phenomenal health, and boy, when Pluto had already been in there, but when Saturn joined, their health took a complete hit. This is typical, okay? It is typical, and I want you to hold on to some light. You can get through this. I can't give you a specific reading without having your actual birth time, so I can't make claims. I can't be, detailed predicative without having your birth time. But what I can tell you, Capricorn ascendants, some great news. Saturn will be leaving your sign come March. March of 2020, Saturn is out of your first house. It is out of the Capricorn ascendant. It is out of Capricorn altogether and goes into Aquarius. Aquarians aren't going to be real happy about that because Saturn slows us down. Wherever Saturn is in our chart, it slows our butt down. And we don't want to be slowed down, right? We want to be able to do things when we want to do them. Like me, I have Saturn in my 9th house. 9th house is about travel. I haven't been able to travel literally anywhere. I have been completely restricted to the degree that to get in a car is extremely uncomfortable for me. And I understand astrology, so I know I'm just like waiting it out. I'm counting down the days. I know that Saturn goes and will move. And so this is to give you hope, something to look forward to, right? It's not going to be forever. Now, Jupiter entering your 6th house is setting up a sweet trine with Uranus, with the other earth signs, because it would be a sweet triangle that we're looking at, okay? Because we've got Capricorn, and then we've got Virgo, and then at the bottom of that triangle is Taurus, or flip it around. However you want to look at it, you would have to look in your chart. But if you have Capricorn in your 1st house, that puts Taurus in your 4th house, okay? I'm sorry, your 5th house. If you have Capricorn on your ascendant, Capricorn there, then it's going to put Taurus in your 5th house, and then it's going to put your Virgo in your 9th house, which is your belief systems. So 1st, 5th, and 9th, what does that mean? 1st house is myself. 5th house is my ability to express my creativity. It is also the house of your romance. Okay, it's also the house of children. It's the house of joy. It's the house of a good time, house of taking risks. That's your 5th house. So you've got Taurus there, which means you don't take risks. Taurus are not going to be a typical risk taker. However, when it comes to the romance department, that's going to be a whole different thing. You are going to feel, if you've got Taurus in your 5th house, which you should if you're a Capricorn ascendant, you should feel as though you've got, Taurus is about desire. So let's not play around with this. You desire romance. You desire physical closeness. And you desire the ability to express sexually with your desires, okay? Taurus in the 5th house is going to be all about that, okay? Now, having a trine, you have Uranus in your 5th house. There could be surprises. Jupiter coming in, Jupiter sending a sweet trine. There could be some sweet surprises beneficial surprises, because that's what a trine is. It adds ease. It could be a beneficial surprise, okay, to the way you create, the way you express. It could be also sexual creation, because the creative energy, people, is the sexual energy, all right? So the ability to create, the ability to express and to sexually express could also be of benefit right now. So romantic partners could be of benefit right now, okay? This also, if you have something in your 9th house, in your house of Virgo, okay? If you have something there, you could have a nice big grand earth trine, that means. By having a big grand earth trine in your 9th house is your belief systems. It's also your house of luck. So this could be very beneficial, and I would love to hear about it. I would love to know. And if you don't know, if you've already submitted a chart, or if you haven't, like I said, comment the birth info below. Or if you also go below, I have free links that take you to a high quality website, not mine, but a high quality website where you can draw up your very own chart. And then you could see and plot these things out as I talk about them. Speaking of which, I'm going to end this with just telling you about the full moon, which happens in Gemini on the 12th of December. So this is a partial December reading. The 12th of December, this is happening in your 6th house. There's a closure and a culmination to something by way of projects, work relationships, health. You're putting closure on something you've been working on, and you're wrapping it up. All right. So with that, I'm going to end this reading for, Capricorn Ascendants. Hope this was helpful. Bye.